Okay, so by this point, it's late afternoon, starting to become, early evening. The sun, such as it is beginning to go down. And you arrive at the gates.
It is up to you. Do you want us to enter the city together or as our own groups? I sort of asked the Dusk Elves.
We can find our own way from here.
Safe travels.
I wish you the
And
best
you
of
as
luck.
well.
I feel like it might be worth driving the cart around the outside of town to the north gate. Just in case we need an easier exit.
That's probably a good idea.
Alright, so you circle around.
Sure.
And we approach the gate.
There are guards.
Guards or vampire guards?
These appear to be guards. Gate guards, specifically.
Hmm.
Who goes there?
Travelers.
Yeah, just travelers.
I'm not hiding my identity currently, but I'm also not saying it out loud.
Oh, let's see if they recognize you. One of them does. You see one makes eye contact with you, Katrina, and then his face perks up, a little bit of fear, and then he like hits the guard next to him and up nods at you. And you're like, oh shit.
Well, no need to disabuse him of that notion if it means he's gonna let us into the lock.
You're her.
Yes.
Is there a problem?
No. What's your business in Vallaki?
Visiting
Meeting with a friend.
Passing through.
Passing through. Good.
We plan to be done by tomorrow.
Cause no trouble. They open the gate, please.
You don't need to worry about us.
If you say so. They still look quite suspicious.
We head to Valeria's mansion.
You do.
We should probably park the cart a few blocks down. Just maybe
Not
even
draw
attention. Not draw attention to where the fuck she's staying. We could potentially ask if we could park it temporarily at Lady Walker's, though I take it she will be a very busy woman.
Are there stables near the inn? Because we could just take it to the inn and say, ask them to store it.
Yeah, that sounds like the best option to me.
There is actually. Here, let me put you there.
Can
You have the
shift
wagon
ping?
with you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Um. There we go. Took a second for that to load in, but you feel the eyes of the vampire guards on you as you walk down the streets.
Just keep going. No need.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything
Mhm.
wrong.
We take our cart to the stables
We do.
and pay for it if we need to.
There you go. Oi. Oh, it's you.
Yes.
Hello again.
Got yourself some horses, I see.
Yep.
Yes.
Paid an arm and a leg for them, but
I'll bet.
Well, we did have an arm and a leg lying around.
I am terribly sorry that we haven't taken care of the problems over at the winery. We've been having to deal with some rather more important things.
More important than the wine supply in all of Barovia, eh?
Just a bit.
He was there when we got the letter, right?
Yeah, he's joking.
I'm gonna. Can I roll insight to see if he knows that I'm the daughter of Strahd and is fucking chill with it?
Sure, roll insight.
Nope. I'm
You
not
don't
gonna say
fucking
what I was
know.
gonna say. Regardless, we are planning on heading out west soon, so
Oh,
hopefully
good.
we will be
would
able
we
to look
be able
into it
to?
sooner rather than later.
What were you saying, Kay? Miss you? Sort of cut off.
Would we be able to keep the horses and cart here for the night? We can
Oh,
pay.
sure.
How much for one night?
Just the two
And the cart.
Yes.
and the cart. Well, we can certainly put the horses up. You'll have to tie up the cart.
We can do that.
1 gold for the night.
I'll front that.
Or we could just take it from the shared party loot.
We could take it from the shared party loot. Why don't we do that?
Shrink it down to 33.
1 more gold and it'll be evenly divisible by 4.
He
I'll do that, I guess.
slides open the door to the barn.
I took the gold out of the party loot.
I want to name the horses, but I'm also concerned that as soon as we name them, they're dead.
Nuzlocke rules, you gotta name them.
we got a lock for the cart before, so I figure we
Yeah.
can just lock it up the same way we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lock up the cart the same way. Secure it such that it doesn't just get like pushed away from where it's currently resting.
And I'm notably still just gonna keep the book on my person.
All right.
Good call. Well, I don't think we're going to be needing rooms for the night. But if that changes, we'll be sure to let you know.
Well, you know where we are.
We also paid to fill all of the rooms with refugees, so I don't know if they have anything available.
There is that, assuming the situation has not changed.
Yeah, it's like a day later.
Either way,
So you venture out into town.
Let's just go as fast as we can to Valeria's.
let's make sure we're not being tailed.
All right, roll give me some stealth rolls. But also some perception rolls.
That's one each from me.
Katrina, you attract literally 0 attention despite your identity. You are hiding from both the guards and the townsfolk, and you succeed.
Nice.
I mean,
Hood
it's
up,
not.
no one knows I'm here.
Yeah, yeah, it's not so hard to put your hood up, but
Yep.
you get your hood at just the right angle where it's covering half your face, and
Mm-hmm.
you keep your mouth shut the whole time. Maybe
Something
put up
I
a
have gotten
scarf.
very good at.
Marcus, you see a few vampire eyes linger on you here and there,
I take note of
But-
it, but don't really do anything
but
about
they're
it.
not really following you. You're just like, oh, okay, well, I gotta,
I take note of where the guards are, but don't,
yeah.
I don't worry about it.
Camus also hides the fact that he's an elf. Nobody's reacting to that at all.
He's around.
And yeah, pretty much, Marcus, you are. Well, you're both the lowest stealth and the highest perception here. So you're like, oh yeah, they're looking at me right now. I need to be aware of that and not
Yeah.
go into the house yet. We'll do a lap around. You sort of motion the party to do that.
Yep, casual walk around.
And you come to the manor. Which, let us say, it is, where are you guys?
It was like somewhere in the north of town, if I recall.
Let's use this.
Okay.
And then forget about it, and the next time you go here, it'll be somewhere else.
She has like 5 mansions, and she changes which one she stays at so people don't find her.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are at the
Well-
door.
I presume we knock.
The spell knock or no?
No, we're
You're
not that
casting knock.
terrible of neighbors.
Yeah. You knock. And you wait. And eventually, the door is answered. Why Marcus is against that wall, I don't know.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, these are very outdated tokens.
Are they?
Yeah, I have like
It's
way
almost-
more health than that.
My health carried over. That's weird.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Same.
mine did.
These still are outdated tokens, though.
They are. Here, I'll just
Replace us.
reset them all.
I think the
Well.
dynamic lighting changes that you made got fucking yeeted into oblivion, sorry.
Heh. I'll look at them again later. Well, I suppose you'll be coming in now?
We would like to, yes.
She takes a quick glance around. Probably best to hurry.
How have you been holding up?
I've been holding up. I began to the door automatically closes behind you as the last of you enters. I've been teaching Irina a little bit of magic, as you suggested. She really is quite a treat.
Oh, that's good.
Let me tell you, that girl has potential. Mark my words.
Well, we haven't
It's
been
almost like
gone
she's a
that
backup
long.
PC or something.
Well, we did come here for one reason in particular, but we are also planning on continuing our journey fairly soon. Naturally, my father is looking for Irina, and if he finds her here, he will undoubtedly also find you here. So we're more than
Yes,
happy
that would
to.
be unpleasant, but this location is quite secure, I assure you.
If you want, we are more than happy to take her into our care once more, but if you believe it
I
is
think
safer
if-
for her here, then I will not protest.
I would be happy to keep her safe here. Besides, her company is quite delightful.
Katrina's just gonna nod and bow sort of genuinely and say, "You have my gratitude." As for the other matter, Camus,
We have this book. And suppose it has the lock with no keyhole. And supposedly
Her
blood is
her
the answer.
her face immediately perks up at the word book before you even finish that sentence. She's like, a book? Oh.
Yeah, we think we need to have someone bleed on it to open it.
Perhaps specifically a someone of your nature.
we tried it with mine and it still didn't work.
My nature.
Katrina just
with
like
the
opens
teeth
her.
and the blood sucking in.
Yeah.
Not how I would have put it. You need to work on your manners.
You really do. But yes, the blood of a vampire.
And you're asking me.
You're the only one we trust.
Yeah, the other
Trust
ones
is a
tend
bit of a stretch, but
The only vampire we do doesn't actively hate us.
She hesitates. Do you even know what you are asking?
Not exactly. We apologize if it's too rude.
The blood of a vampire, a true vampire, willingly given. And she sort of stares out the window as she says this. That is what separates us from them. She actually looks directly at the soldiers outside. At the vampire soldiers, the thralls, the lesser. Oh, don't worry, they can't see us through here.
So that's how you turn other people into vampires?
That's how, presumably, you free other vampires that you've turned from
Oh,
your own control.
Yes.
I take it such a request does not happen often, if ever.
It's... How do I put this to you? I suppose one could describe it as, intimate? I'm not sure that, well, people like you really have a equivalence that I can compare it to.
we could
But yes,
give
I
you
would
some
say it's
privacy
very
if
intimate.
that would help. We don't need you to give it to us exactly, just bleed on the book a little.
You really need to work on your tact.
What? We need this, don't we?
Yes, I know, but it's just... I don't know. I've had a lot of things to think about in the past 48 hours.
Oh? Are you alright?
No one
No.
here is all right, least of all her.
Well, if there's anything I can do.
You can bleed on the damn lock.
Okay, miss, may I have the book?
I'll hand it to her.
Perhaps it's best we talk privately, just the two of us.
Very well.
If that's what you want.
I will sort of sit down,
She'll let you pick any seat you want, and then we'll.
not particularly picky.
Yeah.
I will place the book on the table, sort of at a respectable distance, sort of same distance away from her as it is me, and say, let's just say, as far as family reunions go, that had to be one of the worst.
How so?
I barely remembered my father, but everything I did remember was nothing good. We were introduced to his lieutenants, several of which we had met previously in rather unfortunate circumstances, and we had, to some degree, free reign over the castle. However, there was this unspoken tension in the air. At least, I perceived there to be. I didn't want to stay any longer than I had to under the watchful gaze of my father. And when we eventually left, with our goals for having visited accomplished, on the way back to Vallaki, I found that my mother had been dragged through the mists as well. Sylvia.
She puts her hand over her mouth. You know, like a.
We encountered Kirill and their wolves surrounding a group of dusk elves in the woods, planning to turn them. And they offered me a difficult proposal. Save them, and I give up my mother to Strahd. Save her, and all but one of the dusk elves effectively died then and there.
You didn't.
I turn away from her at this point, and I'm trying very hard not to cry, but
You
so
did.
far I'm holding together.
Didn't you?
The elves told us about the magic pertaining to the book. I still don't know if it was the right choice, but
She will move to place a comforting hand on your shoulder.
if blood willingly given is truly what is required to unlock this book, then I don't want it to have been for nothing.
That's very pragmatic of you.
At this point, Katrina is gonna break composure just a little bit and just. I thought if the elves were able to open it, then whatever's inside would help us to defeat my father. I It was an impossible decision.
You did what you had to do, and she'll sort of offer a small hug.
I will let her.
She hugs you. So that's it then. You've committed to defeating your father.
I don't see any other way out of this God's forsaken valley other than through him.
I fear you may be right.
I honestly don't know if I'm even up for it, but
You mentioned memories of him. Can you explain?
I tried very hard to forget the little that I remembered from my childhood here. Most of what stuck were his rather stern warnings whenever he caught me going somewhere I shouldn't be, whenever I was doing something I shouldn't. And the fear, the ever-present fear that he was able to command so easily. There was no way I would be able to forget that.
Why were you afraid of him?
Are you telling me that were you in my position as a small child under his care, you wouldn't be?
I haven't been a small child for quite some time, I'm afraid. I admit, children are a tad beyond me. From what I remember of my own childhood, my own parents, that sternness that you speak of, certainly I remember that. I remember the rules, the expectations of me. I'll admit at times it was a little overwhelming, but in time I grew up. And after a while it didn't seem so bad. I mean, that's not to say that your situation and mine were the same, but I suppose that's why I'm trying to understand you. And where you're coming from.
Fuck. Katrina's just gonna like lean forward on the table and just like bury her head in her hands. Just fucking realized what a colossal mistake I just made. My entire reason for wanting to leave Barovia, other than to get away from him, was to reunite with her.
Oh. Does this change things?
I don't know. Don't know. But what's done is done, I suppose. As you say, I may not have fully committed to defeating my father, but something within me tells me that's the only path forward. And in doing so, hopefully I will be able to save my mother as well. But right now, I sort of turn to the door where the rest of the group is waiting beyond.
Perhaps if you defeat him, with your mother here, perhaps there will be no need to leave after that.
Perhaps. But regardless, we are woefully lacking in strength and information. And Katrina will just nod back to the book once more. Surely you understand the power of both.
I do. Although, strength. Power. What you need is power. Strength is but one form of power. Just as there are many kinds of strength. Muscle strength, inner strength. There are many
What are you
kinds of power.
suggesting?
Your father has incredible magic at his disposal. I don't know if it's just powerful spells, although I am quite certain he has that in his arsenal. But he wields a magical command over the land. Surely you've seen it.
I have.
You will need to match that, I believe.
Katrina will just let that thought linger in the air before quietly getting up and reaching for the book once more.
The book.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. She will pick up a knife from the table. And she'll hold the knife to her fingertip, and then sort
Well,
of
it's just not even work.
look awkwardly at you. Do you
I'll-
mind?
Of course, and I'll just sort of hold the
Glance
book out,
away.
but then look away myself.
She not that you're looking at this, but on screen,
Mhm.
she pricks her finger and holds it above the latch and waits for a drop to drip. And it does, and the drop lands in the center of the latch. You hear the drop. You can look now. Alright, she's
That's
already
a fucking loud drop.
vampire
Magic.
hearing. Well, it's quiet. It's a very quiet sound, but it's a very quiet room. You see the drop, the shape of the circular shape of the drop change into the shape of a keyhole.
Wait, so we need a drop and a key?
It then begins like bubbling a little bit. Not bubble.
That's
There's a
good
light
sign,
sizzling.
maybe?
There's a light sizzling as this keyhole-shaped drop of blood depresses itself into and through the latch, making a real keyhole. It stops, and then you hear a soft click, and the latch opens.
I'm going to quickly sort of flip to near the back of the book, just random page, slot the latch sort of strap into there, and just close the book again, just so it doesn't accidentally lock itself.
Yeah,
Set it on the table and just go in for a big hug.
she will return the hug.
Thank you. Shall we invite the others inside? I'm sure they would love to hear what's inside.
Of course. The door will just open.
So, did you convince her?
I will just
Show him the book.
show the book that is now open.
Nice. Well, we better get started perusing it then, huh?
You are brilliant at times, Katrina.
I try.
I'll gather around the table.
Yeah. Thank you. I was about to move myself, but thanks.
You open the book. The text on it is very difficult to read.
Any particular reason?
Well, it's moving.
The
Oof.
fuck?
The text swirls into like this inky, swirly. It's like a vortex or a black hole almost. You feel your focus get sucked into the book. And that focus is not the only thing.
What the?
Oh boy, that's not good.
I feel like we should have had a long rest before we read this book.
You hear a voice, Strahd's voice. I am the ancient. I am the land. And you see in the shadows, more shadows sort of like collapse into a shape. And you see Strahd. However, this Strahd looks different. His eyes are blue, and he is clad in military armor atop a horse. I was once the son of a royal line, a warrior, good and just. I thundered across the land, conquering in my father's name, in my family's name. And you see, like an army appear behind him, right? And he like just raises his sword, and then they all begin charging. And they charge through you. And you just feel the force of like all these shadows come through you, but they're not really material, so
That's weird.
you like flinch, but then they go through you.
Katrina
it's-
will try and like step
trippy.
aside and look where they're charging at.
They charge to a battlefield. The battle is over, right? It's like a lot of bodies and wounded men. And you see someone plant a flag on the ground, and it is the you recognize the Tsarevich flag.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
right,
crest.
you see, yeah, the Tsarevich crest, and you see Strahd. You know, he like picks up like a wounded guy, like one of his soldiers, and like helps him up.
Interesting.
I expanded our kingdom's borders and brought the just rule of my family to many people. But the years of war and conquest and killing took their toll. And you see Strahd turns around again, but this time he looks older. You see the lines of age and stress on his face. As he looks over a hill, over a mountain, into a valley. You've seen this valley before. And
Is it Barovia?
how did you know? The Strahd that you see before you speaks. He is talking to a soldier, that is next to him, or a knight, or you don't really know this guy. But you sort of see there's some level of familiarity, like, it's a beautiful valley. I think I would like to stay here after this war is done. I'm so very tired. And, the soldier's like, of course, sir. It is quite beautiful. And he's like, yeah, you certainly earned the rest, sire. These never-ending campaigns, you've done extraordinarily well, but these things wear down on a man. You should rest, spend the rest of your life enjoying your success. And, they have that, like, final nod of exchange, and then the scene changes again. And this time, it's like, it's a battlefield in Barovia, as well as, like, the planted flag, and, like, the castle is being constructed. And you see a silver dragon, a dead silver dragon. You recognize the skull,
I was
although,
about to say, is it the skull we have?
yeah, although there's, like, more to it than the skull, because this was, like, slain, just a few minutes ago.
Obviously.
And Strahd's like, this was my last battle. I'm not as young as I used to be. He's sitting down, getting looked over by a healer. And they're like, talking to him. And you don't really hear the words of the healer. You just see Strahd's face as he listens to the healer, tell him things. And you hear, narrator Strahd's voice echo through the shadows, say, all the goodness slipped from my life. My youth and my strength were gone. And so I settled in this valley and took power over the people in the name of a just God.
I wonder how things went wrong.
I called for my family. I would share this success, this beauty with them, and the shadow shifts again to a carriage, like coming to the valley. It bears the royal like the royal the crest. Words. Yes, bearing the royal crest. But sadly, and the sun sets on the carriage,
Cinematic.
my parents did not survive the journey. And the scene changes again to it's like the castle's done and Strahd is waiting outside with all his men for the carriage, and the carriage arrives. Instead, my brother came. My brother was all that survived of my family. And out of the carriage steps a much younger looking man.
I swear I've seen that art before in an art search or something.
Whereas Strahd has like the lines on his face, his hair's, going gray and in a little bit here and there. He has some gray
Definitely
hairs.
showing the signs of age.
Yeah. His brother looks 15 years younger. And he has this like playful energy about him as he steps out, right? Right? He like gives this smile at one of the maids, and she swoons as like, she's taking his stuff. And like giving him food as he steps out of the carriage, and he like takes an apple and bites out of it in like a very, I don't know the way to describe it, but like,
We get it. He's very attractive.
yeah. He has this like playboy energy about him. My brother. All
I think
of the
part
youth
of my theory is correct.
and luxury. None of the expectations. None of the sacrifice. And the Strahd you see is like, welcoming him and saying, "Oh, welcome to Barovia." And they exchange, they hug, right? But you hear that bitterness in the voice above. And so was my new life. I settled down. I went from conqueror to ruler. And I ruled this new land, named after my father Barov. Ruled in the grace of Lathander and the Raven Queen, as was our family tradition. And ruled with the care of a good administrator. But my youth had passed. My life had passed. And I began to fear that all I had left was death. And that was when I met her. And you see in the shadows forms a woman. Very beautiful, red hair. She has an air of magic about her.
That says Irina.
There.
Heh.
Yeah, looking at this person, you feel like you know her. It's not like a one-to-one replica, but like you're like, wait a minute. It's like that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio like pointing at the screen.
Mhm.
You see Strahd, he's just like walking in his garden, right? And he sees this woman there, and she's like, doing stuff in the garden. Examining the magical plants. And you see him approach her, and they begin talking. And then the scene shifts to they're like talking over dinner, they're talking here, they're talking there. You see that like she's showing him magic. And you feel a warmth. It's unspoken, but you feel this warm glow, almost. As Strahd, sits in the presence of this woman who radiates beauty and magic. She was beautiful, but she was also much more than that. Of all those who I've met in my life, she truly captivated me, not just with her body, but with her mind, her spirit. She showed me things. She challenged me. And right, you see scenes of her. She's showing really impressive magic. Like, really impressive magic. Spells you didn't even know could exist. And then there's also scenes of like they're debating, and it's like a lively, intellectual discussion. And you see it transitions to Strahd is walking down a hallway with a bouquet of flowers.
I know exactly where this is going.
And he like approaches a doorway to a bedroom, you assume.
I've had
You saying that, Brett, made me think maybe I think I know where this is going to.
I mean, I've had a hunch since a while before this.
And in that bedroom is Tatiana and Strahd's brother Sergei.
Ouch.
And Strahd just sort of stops like at the side of the door. and you hear Sergey say, "Oh, but I thought you had a thing for my brother. What about Strahd?" And she's like, "Yeah, but he's so old."
Oof.
Everyone make a charisma save.
Why?
Oh God, why?
It gets cold.
Crap.
That warm glow is gone, and you all feel a deep chill. Camus, you take 6 cold
Damn.
damage.
Hey,
There is a place hidden deep within the Baratok Mountains. The scene shifts to Strahd is walking in this frozen mountain in the middle of like this blizzard. The snow is coming down hard. He's wrapped up in all of this like, cold weather garb, and he is just trudging. An ancient temple. A source of untold power. If all that was left to me was death, then I would have to get creative. And the scene moves again to the interior of this temple. It's still cold. Along the walls, you see what appear to be corpses preserved in amber. It was here that I made my bargain. And the scene shifts again to the core of the temple as Strahd is kneeling before. It appears to be an altar, but it's strange and unlike anything you've ever seen. The altar fills up. It's like an altar and a fountain. The fountain fills. It's like dry, and then all of a sudden, it starts filling. But instead of water, it's blood. I made a sacrifice. For youth restored and power gained. And you see the Vision Strahd, look up at the fountain, and he asks, "If I do this thing that you tell me, I will have her heart?" And you hear a rumble, as if the altar itself responds. And it's not a voice so much as a presence. But the answer is they're all the same. You will have her heart. Do as I have bidden, and the power shall be yours. And Strahd rises, having drinking from the fountain. He makes his way back to Castle Ravenloft. Brother, I was beginning to wonder where you went. I was afraid you missed my big day. You see outside the window scenes of wedding preparations. And you see Strahd just walk towards his brother.
This is going exactly where I thought it was going when we first learned about the wedding thing, like, way back.
Brother? And they both... Right, Sergei backs off into... basically out of view, right? Out of view down the hallway. And so does Strahd. Until you only see both of their shadows. And you see one shadow rip the heart out of another.
Damn.
And, there's a scream. Blood, splatters over the shadows. And the shadow of Strahd puts the shadow of the heart, to his mouth.
Did he just eat his brother's heart?
That's what it appears.
Damn.
By the way, I should point out, each of you is experiencing this alone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Marcus, you ask, oh, did he just do that? And then you look to where you
That
thought
was
came
an out of
was.
character comment, sorry.
Yeah. Well, at this point, you noticed you are alone.
Yes.
Finally, I had my youth restored. Finally, I had unlocked true power. Finally, I would have Tatiana's Strahd. And you see... There we go. His narration is sort of interrupted as you hear Tatiana shout, Strahd! And she's there in the doorway. Tatiana, what have you done?
She sounds way too calm for someone whose betrothed just got murdered.
Tatiana, don't you see? I'm young again. What have you done?
The rage of a woman scorned.
And, there's fire in her fists now. We can be together now. And her eyes go wide as she realizes, she sees the blood. And she throws out a spell unlike anything you've ever seen. It's beyond 9th tier.
Oh
Oh
fuck.
god.
This massive blast. Strahd counters it. And throws it, in a different direction, commanding magic of the same caliber. And she realizes what that means. So, it's true. They told me that you would come to this land one day, but I never thought it would be you. Tatiana, And she throws another blast at him, and soon they're dueling, throwing spells back and forth. It's this incredible display of power on both fronts. And soon she begins to glow, and the ground begins to glow, and there's fire everywhere in the tower, and lava erupts from through the window, and then you see just this volcanic crater that she summons engulf the north tower of the castle.
I think we know what happened to the tower now.
And he, does his own magic to try to keep the tower from falling any further. And then they trade some more spells back and forth. And then he shoots out a particular spell. It's not that the spell itself is particularly powerful or deadly, but just in the volley, it catches her off guard and sends her out the window. And she falls. He immediately, leaps for the window and tries to reach out for her. But it's too late.
Forgot to prepare Featherfall.
Heh.
I guess.
Featherfall ain't gonna help you when you land in lava. And he just looks on towards the pit in sorrow. And a mist descends upon the night sky. So began my sorrow. The mists descended upon the land after that night. Choking out the land in sorrow. It was found that anyone who tried to leave could not. Save for those few who I allowed, who I had previously given free movement. I would not go back on my word. But as for myself, my heart, it seems, keeps even me here. And 100 years went by. And you see a very sad vampire Strahd sitting on his throne. There's still day-to-day administration happening, right? People come to him asking stuff, and he just doesn't even look at them. He just motions his hand and says, whatever. He motions his right hand that way, he motions his left hand that way, not really caring about it. Until one day, a miracle occurred. And you see, entering his court is... Well, it's a contingent of Dusk Elves, but among them is a half-elf, who, you swear, looks familiar.
Oh my god.
She's a half-elf now. It's, there are differences, but it's, you swear it's her. And for the first time, he actually, gets off this throne, right? And, looks at her. And he says, "It was a miracle. Fate had returned my beloved to me. But sadly, it was not to last." You see a Dusk Elf assassin stab her through the back, and she dies.
At a later time, not like.
Yeah, I mean it's the way the way the scene is shifting. It's like
montage isn't the right word, but
yeah. It's like, and
what you
then
mean.
this happened. Boom.
It's cinematic.
Yeah. She kept returning to me after that. But it was always, and you see another woman that, looks like her being stoned to death by villagers. The same. And then you see her again, and this time, right, she's thrown from a cliff. And then, she dies again.
I do not
time.
like this. This makes me just want to protect Irina.
And you see every time, his face, it's the same face as when she fell off, the tower.
It sure does seem like every time she comes into contact with him, something bad happens.
How fate taunts me so. But I have conquered much in my time. I have conquered lands. I have conquered nations, races. I have conquered life. I will conquer fate as well. I am the ancient. I am the land. I am Strahd. And you all sort of come out of the book.
Well then. I look across the table at each of the party members
At least
to
we're
gauge their reactions.
safe. Could have been worse.
Anyone else really cold right now?
You good?
Maybe.
That was certainly something.
Did we all see the same thing?
Strahd murdering his brother and then repeatedly losing the woman he thinks is supposed to be his beloved.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Same. Question. Were there any defining features in the temple that Strahd was in, where he got his superpowers?
You saw the interior, but not the exterior.
Were there any like recognizable symbols as to I don't know
Roll
what?
religion.
Okay. Nope.
Not. So you know you're familiar with a lot of religions, and you can confidently say that this wasn't one of the ones you were familiar with.
Okay.
Like you're very familiar with like the Raven Queen and with Orcus because of your recent assignment. This
Yeah.
was neither of and those are the two big players in this kind of stuff that you're aware of. This was neither of those.
Okay.
Katrina is going to reach for a pocket on her current attire. A man who chooses fate as their enemy. And she's going to pull out the blank tarot card and just place it on the table. How curious.
What's curious?
You recall the fortune teller when we first entered Barovia?
Yeah.
Get a gesture to the card. You recall what happened.
With yours, yeah. What does that got to do with anything?
I don't know, but it's a coincidence and I don't like it.
What's out of character? What's the coincidence you're referring to?
My fate could not be read, no matter how hard she tried.
Right.
And book narrator Strahd sort of declared war on fate. I think is what he's getting at.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see. Sorry, I didn't get that connection. I was very confused.
You mentioned Irina had potential with magic.
You look over to Valeria. She's very silent. She looks quite stunned
Did she see what we saw too?
and possibly frazzled.
I believe
Did you
we
see
find
it,
out why.
Valeria?
I asked her if she saw that too.
She's not really responsive. You can roll perception or insight.
I will gladly do that. Nope.
No. She maintains a legendary poker face, even. Marcus, you think you perceive a very slight tremble, like in her hand, but you look again and it's not there.
Hmm.
I believe I told you, she will finally say after, tense silence passes, that there was a man who came in my circumstances. The one who was responsible for making me into what I am. And, she sort of looks at you, Katrina, like, does this ring a bell?
I remember. She told us.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Sergei.
The what now?
What?
I mean, that's a common name around here, isn't it?
Was that him?
Perhaps, but it's not a common face.
Huh.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that is certainly interesting.
Didn't my father kill him, though? In that vision? He ate
I
his
mean, we've seen
heart.
weirder.
I mean, apparently Strahd's whatever she is keeps reincarnating, so
Yeah,
not
but
like there's
one
no
would assume
precedent.
that's because he drank from the blood altar.
Well, eating his brother's heart was also part of the same ritual, it seems.
If you'll excuse me, then she will get up to leave the room.
By the way, where is Irina?
She doesn't really.
Well, that's
I'm-
not helpful.
I have a bad feeling, so I'm gonna sort of try to tail her, or at least stay close, but respectful, out of the way, sort of sneaking behind.
She's just left the room.
Mm-hmm.
Roll stealth.
Okay.
I would. I think we should go find Irina.
You don't think you're very stealthy.
Yeah, no.
She doesn't seem to really react, but you think that your presence is known.
But she's not, like, actively going to murder Irina.
No, she's just like
Okay. I'll return to the table.
stepping
Give
out
her
of the
some
room
space.
to have what you assume to be a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. I'm no stranger to those. I'll give her some space.
So yeah, you four are at the table. You have the book, which you notice has closed and locked itself again.
So, who wrote this?
My father,
I'm
probably.
pretty sure.
That would. But why? I mean, yeah, it seems like he's the only one who could know about this, but why would he enchant a book like this and then lose it?
Roll insight. Your best guess is that, he's been around for a long time. Like, that people start to, like, make notes of things as they get older to, like, remember their lives. Maybe this is sort of similar. And you just can't really understand being as old as he is, so it's like,
Yeah.
you don't really know.
I'm trying to think of how this can help us, though.
Well, the fortune teller said it will give us knowledge of the ancient and the land to help us better understand our enemy.
So
He is
then
the
we should
ancient.
go
He
to
is
this
the
altar.
land.
Yes. we understand what he is, how he came to be that.
But I
Surely
still feel
that's
like I don't
useful.
understand a whole lot. But
We know more than we did. Even if we don't fully understand the how yet, we know the why. That must count for something.
Well, we have the skull. We have the winery to deal with. Now we have a temple to find.
well, it was at a very high elevation. There
There
can't
is a
be
place
that
in the
many
Baratok
places like that.
Mountains. You recall you said
Yeah.
In the what mountains?
Baratok.
Noted.
Maybe we should tackle something a little less serious first.
So before I forget, although apply this at the end of the session, it is a level up for quote unquote reading the book.
Yeah,
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
we can do that after.
Yeah.
So I believe we're at 7 now?
Ooh, does that mean I get
I
4th
don't
level
remember.
spells?
We can do that after the session, unless
Yeah.
we're ending soon.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and I feel like this is a pretty solid stopping point, but...
Well, I
fuck.
assumed you had wanted to go check on Irina.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes, that's fair. I'll step out into the hall once more and just back up. Wait for her to compose herself.
You see, roll perception.
Okay.
Although you are certain that there should be some physical thing that you're missing, she seems, picture perfect composure. It's like I apologize for my composure.
I'll just shake my head and say, don't be. It would seem that that book contains secrets for all of us.
Indeed.
Now that you know about Irina, does that change your offer?
I still think my house is safe, if that's what you mean.
But do you feel safe keeping her here?
I'm not really sure how much of a difference it makes, to be honest.
If Strahd's men find and capture Irina, a part of me thinks that the fates will contrive to see her killed yet again.
She shows concern at this suggestion. She says, I don't think that will happen.
Why not?
If she stays here, they can't find her. This place is hidden by more than secrets. By more than secrecy.
I see.
You don't.
She has managed to stay hidden all this time.
Do you
Maybe
know
we should trust her
anything
with this one.
about residency?
I suspect I don't know it in the way that you mean it.
This is while it's an open question, it is semi-directed towards Marcus, actually.
What is it?
Do you know about residency?
Regarding vampires specifically?
Regarding vampires, yes.
I know a little bit.
Care to share? Care to share with the class?
I cannot enter a residence without permission. Is that right?
That's the simplistic version of it, yes. Think of it like... Again, this is difficult to describe to people like you, but it's like a force. Some forces are more powerful than others. Simply put, very simply put, the longer you can call a place your residence, your home, the stronger that force can be. I have
Noted.
lived within these walls for over 100 years, building that strength. And at the risk of perhaps sounding a braggart, I have figured out how to enhance this power with magic. and use it to fuel magic. No other vampire could enter my home without permission. No other vampire could know of its existence without my permission.
That's powerful.
To be honest, she looks at Katrina. I was a little concerned about you, but I did invite you after all, so. Roll insight.
Yeah.
You kind of vaguely remember that. And I mean, to be fair, these two events were so close together, within seconds. But it's like
Mhm.
she told you where it was, and then invited you,
Mm.
and you didn't really. You don't think you really. This is maybe your memory being a little funky because, as I said, it was like within seconds of each other. It could
Mhm.
just be brain processing delay, but you're like, wait, did it really sink in where it was until she actually invited me 3 seconds later? You think you're overthinking it,
Mhm.
Huh.
but you do think about it for a bit.
I do not want to force ourselves onto your hospitality, but we are planning on continuing our journey tomorrow, and we were wondering if we could check on Irina and perhaps stay the night.
Oh, of course, of course. She's up. She should be upstairs now, and she will.
Katrina will follow her.
I moved you up here, and then you moved yourself back. Where is it? As she's leading you up the stairs, she's like, I do think that girl needs a hug.
Irina?
Well, you saw the book.
Yes, but as far as I'm aware,
She
she knows nothing of it.
Perhaps she should know something of it.
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she will, as she enters, she'll be like, oh, Irina, darling. Look who's here. And then she will give her that hug. Like, oh, I just watched you die 5 times.
Oh my god.
Have a hug. She's just like, the Anks? Oh, okay. Cool, we're hugging now, okay. And then we'll go back to her book. Or rather, she will say, oh, I've been reading that book, this book that you gave me. And they begin chatting about, like, the magic of the book that Irina is reading.
She's not happy to see us.
Well, no, but it's more just as Valeria like sits down, she's like, "Oh yeah, so I was reading that book. You were right. This section on transmutation is really interesting." And then you guys enter. She's like, "Oh hey guys."
Hey, I hope she's not teaching you how to get into trouble. No, just kidding. I hope she is teaching you how to get into trouble.
Or teaching me how to get out of it.
No,
Good
but
stuff
see, the
in
getting
here.
into it is the fun part.
Yeah, but clearly we're not very good at getting out of trouble, so maybe she can get us out of
Valeria
trouble.
will offer a chuckle and say, "Oh, but to get out of trouble, you must first get into it." No?
Believe me, we're very good at getting into trouble. Much as I would love for us not to be.
It's the getting out part we haven't quite figured out. Anyway,
So yeah, you stay the night.
Mhm.
Unless you had anything
I
else that you
will
want to say.
I will inform Irina, just so that they're not kept in the dark, that if they want to continue on their journey to Kresk, we're more than happy to accompany them. However, Valeria and we strongly believe that here, this manor, is far safer.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to oppose. No, don't be silly. You are more than welcome here, Irina.
yeah,
Okay.
after 100 years, you're probably pretty lonely around here.
Yes. Oh, you have no idea.
I take it the Wachter lineage were not always the best of friends.
Um. She was friendly enough. Her parents, less so. No, I've always found Lady Walker, Fiona, to be quite friendly and sociable, but well, likable's another matter.
You don't have to tell us twice.
Yeah.
She's been tolerable, I suppose, but well, that could just be the loneliness talking.
Better than the other guy at any rate.
Oh yes. I have to say though, the last meeting was very concerning. What did you all think of that?
Made me think that Fiona's a gullible fool.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Say what you will about her, and I must say I have a lot to say about her. She's no fool.
He enlisted the aid of a servant of Orcus.
He did. Let's just say, in the time that I've known her, both her and the late Vargas, Vargas did what he believed was good for the people. He was motivated by the interests of others. But he was dreadfully incompetent. Fiona, on the other hand, quite competent in her own way. But Above all, she is motivated by her own interests. That's my
Well-
view of her, anyway.
I do think we need to keep an eye on her.
Yes, it's this servant of Orcus who I'm concerned about. Fiona's a known
Yeah.
variable, at least to me. This outsider, I don't know what to make of her.
Camus probably has the most to share.
Nothing good. The last time we met, I suppose, was the only time we could have. It could have been called a civilized meeting. And I wish we caught her. We wouldn't be in this mess.
Caught her? You were seeking to detain her? Am I understanding you correctly?
Detain, kill. Whatever was easiest at the time.
I see. Neutralize.
Yes. In particular, get her away from that Skull of Orcus artifact that she carries around.
She frowned. Skull of Orcus?
Yes. We don't know exactly what it does or how it functions, but it's certainly very adept at bringing about the undead.
Really? I haven't noticed an increase in undead lately. Says the undead. Minions outside notwithstanding, she, gestures out the window to the oblivious vampire soldiers. Although I hardly doubt this skull is responsible for them.
Didn't she say that she was having some difficulty with it?
I recall she was having difficulty communicating with Orcus, though I believe she was able to use the skull as a means to at least somewhat communicate still from here. It was very faint, though. In any case, keep an eye on her, and especially keep an eye on that skull.
Well, I'm not sure how much I can do.
Wait, are we suggesting leaving the skull here, or?
That is actually a fair point. Given the new change in guard, are you more or less trapped within your own home?
I have more ability to move than Irina does, I think. I just have to be careful.
I see.
Of course, I still have needs, such that I need to leave every now and then. But I would like to keep that to a minimum.
Katrina has nothing more to say to this conversation.
I don't know what else to add to either.
Yeah. Good luck. And thank you for allowing us to stay the night.
Of course. And with that, you long rest.
Fucking finally.
It hasn't been that long.
She will lead you to a bedroom. Not that's like, oh, go to bed now, but it's like, oh, well, when you get tired, there's some beds here. Although I'm not sure. If you're, I mean, you should follow her.
Yeah.
But there's a bedroom with 2 beds here.
Is there another bedroom?
There is another floor.
Another room with 2 beds would be fine too for the for the girls and for the guys.
I don't.
Yes, but there's also Irina and myself.
Yes.
How many bedrooms do you have?
She will lead you up the stairs. To the top floor. We have a bed in here. It would be cozy, but it could fit 2 people.
It's alright, I can sleep on the floor.
Yeah, I've got a bedroll. Floor's not a problem for me either.
And then there's the master bedroom, which, again,
That
I
is
would
your
not
room.
want to displace you from that.
It's fine, but we should decide if it's me or Mark is sleeping on the floor.
What about the
Um,
other room? How many beds are in the room where Irina was sleeping?
Here's the other room.
Wait, then where's her bedroom?
This is the master bedroom, I believe, is what she's showing us right now.
Where was Irina sleeping then? In the other room we looked at?
Oh, I let her sleep here.
Oh, I see.
Truth be told, I don't use this bed much.
Right.
I can see why. And not going to be as so crass as to ask where you sleep. But thank you, regardless, for the accommodations.
Of course.
3 beds and ample floor space should be more than enough.
I'll take the floor.
If none of you mind, I'll take the larger of the beds.
Well, whoever taking the larger bed has to share with Irina.
I think.
Well, Irina's using this room.
Yeah, I think Katrina just means the.
The larger of the beds that
Oh,
they
I didn't even
offered to
see.
us.
I didn't even see that bed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking like I don't see another bed, and I moved my token through the whole floor. I'm like, where's the bed? It was literally
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
here.
I moved it through the room, and I somehow didn't see
Mhm.
that bed.
Invisible bed.
Yeah, that's like the double size bed, and then this is like the king size bed, and then the 2 twin size beds.
Yeah.
Well, if Katrina's here, then the 2 beds in there are. Well, if Marcus and Camus share the room, then there's no real need for Marcus to take a bedroll, but that does leave Jasmine.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is fair
No,
and
I'll s-
unfortunate.
It's fine. I'll sleep in a bedroll.
I was seeing if there was like a couch or something.
There might be.
No, there's only chairs.
Only chairs.
Well, she does live here alone. A couch is kind of something you only really need if you.
Yeah.
But there's like a bajillion chairs.
You could like put like 3 chairs together.
I've done that. It's bad.
It's bad, yeah.
They're all armchairs. Yeah,
They'll get 2
bedroll on the
armchairs and a
floor.
footrest.
There's no footrest.
Or, I mean, honestly, it's
Bedroll on the
more
floor.
comfortable just sleeping sitting up in a comfy chair with a footrest than it is trying to lay across a bunch of chairs.
Well, you let me know what you want to do, and we'll put something together.
I'll just
Well,
take
there's the... Is anyone... So
Irina's taking that very big bed at the top.
Right. So 2 could take a bedroom, and then someone gets a bedroll in whatever room they want to put it in.
Mm-hmm. I think Camus and Marcus are taking the 2 beds in the bedroom on the lower floor. Katrina's taking the bed here, and Jasmine
Yeah, I'm
is.
fine giving up a bed, but if you want to do it that way, that's fine with me too.
I mean, the real awkward issue is like the two beds are in the same room, so
Yeah, I guess.
Jasmine would be sleeping with Camus in that case. And Katrina has not brought this up, but if any of you mention that it's awkward, Katrina would be happy to acquiesce and take one of the smaller beds, just so it's not as much of an issue.
Well, I think both Jasmine and I are indifferent to sleeping on the floor, so.
Okay.
I also don't mind sleeping on the floor for whatever it's worth.
Well, somebody needs to make a decision.
Camus and I will take the beds.
Then I will sleep on the floor in the room with y'all, if that's where the most room is.
This room is tiny.
There's more room in Katrina's current room, and
you could
you're more
bedroll
than
in
welcome to
Katrina's room.
sleep on the floor here.
Yeah.
That seems the best option.
So yeah, you sleep.
Mhm.
And I think that is a good place to call it for tonight.
For once, Katrina does not go to sleep afraid.